There's also been other much smaller scale discoveries recently made in terms of bees communicating to each other. I picked this picture specifically because we can see these two bees here engaging in a very intimate form of communication where they're physically touching each other, passing chemicals between each other. And it's worth highlighting that once again, just last year, there was a discovery made in honeybees that I suspect could actually be Nobel Prize worthy in 10 years' time, depending on what its applications manifest as. But honeybees, it turns out, are the first animal where we've ever found RNA molecules. These are the tinier, simpler versions of DNA passed between individuals that then modify directly that other individual's development. So a recent discovery that we made last year about these transmissible RNA pathways in bees essentially tells us that when baby bees are developing, the signaling molecules, the instructions in their cells, not just in their body, not just in their blood, but physically in their cells, that they use to tell themselves to develop into pupae and how to organize their bodies, where to grow a stomach, where to grow a gut, where to grow wings, that they don't generate all those molecules themselves. Some of them rely on being fed to them by adult worker bees. And this is the first time in the whole of nature that we've ever even observed this. And once again, it's a discovery made due to our diligent and long-standing understanding of the way honeybees work. For my personal research as an infectious disease biologist working in bees to try and make bees healthier, to try and fight the diseases that they suffer from, this is really important because these small RNA molecules, these miniature, simpler versions of DNA, are what the bees use to fight their viruses. So they manage to make these molecules to counteract the viruses that we find inside them. And I've got three kind of cartoon versions of different viruses here. Say one of them might be deformed wing, one of them might be acute paralysis, one of them might be black queen cell. And they will make these very specific small molecules just in the same way we make antibodies in order to counteract these viruses. And so discovering that these molecules can be passed bee to bee means that bees have to have some mechanism by taking those molecules from their stomach and getting them into their blood. And if we know that those molecules can be used to combat their viruses, does that mean that we can give them more of those antibody-type chemicals, and they will be able to take them up through their gut in order to help defend themselves against the viruses that are being spread by Varroa and which are killing them as we try and take care of them? And it turns out that as of this year, yes, we can. Some of you might have seen some news very recently in the last month or so where some fantastic scientists, led by Sean Leonard, who's a graduate student at UT Austin, featured there in the bottom right-hand corner, genetically engineered a bacteria that naturally occurs in bee guts. It's one of the good bacteria. Those of you that drink your Yakult will know all about good bacteria. Bees have them as well. They took some of those good bacteria, they genetically engineered them in the lab to produce these small molecules, these antibody-style molecules, which as of last year, we knew the bees are able to take into their body to counteract the viruses and even fight the Varroa that were feeding on these bees. And so we were able to put something in the bees that produced a chemical to help reduce their viral loads and to help kill the Varroa feasting on them. And I'm excited for where this research will go, what directions it will take, and what new branches of biology we will once again be saying thank you to the honeybees for. And in 10 years' time, should I still be giving talks like this, to be able to look back at when these discoveries were made and talk about them with the same long-standing enthusiasm we've had for things like the waggle dance or for the behaviors now used in computer algorithms. So I think it's always been an exciting time understanding how bees communicate with each other, how they dance together, and how that can then be taken into wider society to inform, for instance, how to best give them drugs to fight their diseases. And that leads me on to part 2